friends, today's lecture talks about a very interesting element of theatre acting. Acting is not just delivering few dialogues on stage. It inherits a history as old as mankind himself. This legacy has been maintained throughout the world, encrypted in different grammars. It has always intrigued man, who in turn has explored various methods and discovered several theories to evolve a comprehensible approach for it. This is exactly what we are going to talk about in this lecture. The topic of acting is a vast one, and thus we have divided it into two individual lectures. The first one deals with the various theories of acting propounded worldwide in the past, which laid the foundation of comprehensible approach to acting training. This shall also be including the concept of acting advocated by the ancient Indian text on dramaturgy, Natyashastra. Once we expose our minds to different acting theories and approaches, it shall be easier for us to comprehend the basic grammar for preparing any role. Therefore, in our second lecture, we shall be discussing about the basic preparation that an actor needs to do in order to play a character. There, you shall learn various exercises and games, both mental and physical, as well as a stepwise guideline to help you achieve your goal effortlessly. So, let us begin right from the basic. What is meant by the word act? Well, one might come up with several definitions to the word. For example, I once asked the same question from a bunch of students. Each of them gave a very interesting response, like, to act is to pretend, while someone said, to act is to behave in a particular manner. Someone else said, to act means to create an illusion, something that is unreal. I am sure even you must be thinking on similar lines. But remember, I said, let's start from the basic, right? Well then, my friends, the dictionary meaning of the word act is simply to do. That's all. It is a constant state of movement, even if the movement is that of stillness. Myriad styles of acting present today for the actors to choose from. Depending upon the treatment of the content and the style of performance, the actor is supposed to make a selection of his/her method of approach towards the style that would contribute and integrate with the performance as a whole. Actor is not to be mistaken as merely an imitator, for acting as a whole demands more from an actor. The ability to put oneself into another character, to create through performance a non-existent event and bring it to its logical fulfillment, time after time with the same gist, just like the first time, irrespective of the actor's own feelings. Let us now discuss about few theorists and their theories of acting that made a huge impact on the way actor training was perceived and approached. Stanislavski's system. Founded by Konstantin Stanislavski, a Russian actor and theatre director, it is a progression of techniques used to train actors to draw believable emotions to their performances. Initially, the system focused on the development of artistic truth on stage by teaching the actors to experience the part during the performance. Actors were instructed to use their own memories in order to express emotion. But then, he soon observed that some of the actors using or abusing this technique were given to hysteria. He began to search for a more reliable mean to access emotion, eventually emphasizing the actor's use of imagination and belief in the given circumstance of the text rather than his or her private and often painful memories. Thereafter, he developed the method of physical actions to solve the dilemma of spontaneous emotion in a created environment. In this technique, the actor performs a physical motion or a series of physical activities to create the desired emotional response for the character. Focusing upon the physical actions as a means to access truthful emotion and involved improvisation in an effort of reaching the subconscious through the conscious. Through his work, Stanislavski reversed the human reaction system in which an emotion allocates an action. One of his students, Lee Strasberg, went on to co-found the group theatre in 1931 with two others, which was the first American acting company to put Stanislavski's initial discoveries into practice. Strasberg also went on to become the director of the non-profit actors studio in New York City, considered the nation's most prestigious acting school, thereafter founding Lee Strasberg Theatre and Film Institute. He is considered the father of method acting in America, who trained several generations of theatre and film's most illustrious talents, including Annie Bancroft, Dustin Hoffman, Montgomery Clift, James Dean, Marilyn Monroe, Julie Harris, Paul Newman, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, and director Elia Kazan. Strasberg's teaching philosophy emphasized upon improvisation and affective memory. By using these techniques, the actor can express the appropriate emotions demanded of the character. Strasberg demanded great discipline of his actors as well as great depths of psychological truthfulness. I would also like to mention about Stella Adler here. She was an American actress and an acclaimed acting teacher who founded the Stella Adler Studio of Acting in New York City in 1949 and the Stella Adler Studio of Acting in Los Angeles in 1985. Adler was the only American actor to study with Konstantin Stanislavski. She was a prominent member of the group theatre, but differences with Lee Strasberg over the Stanislavski system made her leave the group. Adler met with Stanislavski again later in his career and questioned him on Strasberg's interpretation. He told her that he had abandoned emotional memory, which had been Strasberg's dominant paradigm, but they both believed that extensive research was needed to understand the experiences of characters who have different values originating from different cultures, to understand what situations would have meant to people that in the actor's own culture might mean nothing. Adler trained actors' sensory imagination to help make the characters' experiences more vivid. She also believed that mastery of the physical and vocal aspects of acting was necessary for the actor to command the stage. Let's come to Chekhov's technique. Mikhail Chekhov, the nephew of Anton Chekhov and Stanislavski's most brilliant pupil, was known as one of Russia's most outstanding and innovative actors and directors who intrigued his audience with his character interpretations that were extremely alive and imaginative. He developed an acting technique, a psychophysical approach in which transformation, working with impulse, imagination, and inner and outer gesture are central. It offers clear and practical tools in working with imagination, feelings, and atmosphere. His approach did not focus on emotional memory like Stanislavski, but on imagination and movement. Admittedly, Chekhov employed many of Stanislavski's ideas in his teachings. However, his stress on imagination, imagery, and physicalization were different than anything being taught at that time. The student was to seize some image in his imagination, then let it change and develop. Where Stanislavski put stress on using personal emotional memory to stimulate feelings, Chekhov placed it in the imagination sector. He felt that using one's own experiences exclusively would soon exhaust the actor's emotional resources, and that, after a while, actors would begin imitating themselves. The development of his psychological gesture was another major Chekhov innovation. This was a movement that would embody the psychology and objective of a character, executed inwardly during performance. This was an external way of achieving an internal state of understanding and developing a character. Meyerhold biomechanics. Vsevolod Meyerhold was a great Russian and Soviet director, actor, and theatrical producer. His acting technique has fundamental principles at odds with the American method actor's conception, where method acting melded the character with actors' own personal memories to create the character's internal motivations. Meyerhold connected psychological and physiological processes. He had actors focus on learning gestures and movements as a way of expressing emotions physically. Following Stanislavski's lead, he believed that the emotional state of an actor is inextricably linked with the physical state and vice versa. He propounded the theory of biomechanics, a training aimed at forging the connection between mind and body to teach the body to think. The training is highly systematic and sequential. It begins with fairly simple physical exercises, gradually developing into stylized movement pieces. During the physical training, the actor needs to develop a conscious awareness of their relationship to the space and to the other actors as well as their own inner movements. As the training progresses, the actor's awareness deepens. Thus, biomechanics provides the actor with a concrete methodology for addressing issues of acting. Brecht's epic theatre. Bertolt Brecht, a German poet, playwright, and theatre director who synthesized and extended the experiments of Erwin Piscator and Vsevolod Meyerhold to explore the theatre as a forum for political ideas and the creation of a critical aesthetics of dialectical materialism. This evolved into the epic theatre. It proposed that a play should not cause the spectator to identify emotionally with the character or action before him or her, but should instead provoke rational self-reflection and a critical view of the action on stage. Brecht thought that the experience of climatic catharsis of emotion left an audience complacent. To avoid this, Brecht employed the use of techniques that reminded the spectator that the play is representation of reality and not reality itself. Brecht replaced the Methodian conception of being one with the character with the alienation effect. Under this, an actor was supposed to directly address the audience in between the play. He was also encouraged to transposit the text to the third person or past tense during rehearsals and speaking the stage directions aloud. He also advocated the use of songs to interpret the action between the narratives. Brechtian theatre articulated popular themes and forms with avant-garde formal experimentation to create a modernist realism that stood in sharp contrast both to its psychological and social varieties. Grotowski's poor theatre. Jerzy Grotowski was a Polish theatre director and innovator of experimental theatre, the theatre laboratory, and poor theatre concepts. Grotowski came with the concept of poor theatre as a reaction to the extensive use of elaborate theatrical devices such as lights, sound, costume, and decor, used to add spectacle to the performance. The skills of the actors were being overshadowed. Besides, the invention of motion pictures at that period made it almost impossible for theatre to compete with the new genre. Grotowski argued that there was no point in competing with the films. Rather, theatre should instead convert back to its roots. He believed that the actor's voice and body should be the primary spectacle on the stage. In his quest, he did away with everything that could distract the audience from the actor. No more elaborate sets, lights, or sounds. The relationship between the actor and the audience became, once more, the emphasis of the production. He developed a training methodology where techniques and exercises required serious concentration and commitment. The actor was encouraged to find strength of his natural voice and body. The perfection of the technique was not as important as the awareness of the process. Here, the spectacle would come only and only from the actor. Augusto Boal's Theatre of the Oppressed. A Brazilian theatre director, writer, and politician, Augusto Boal used theatre as means of knowledge and transformation of reality in the social and relational field. In the theatre of the oppressed, the audience becomes active by using simultaneous dramaturgy. It is a technique where, amidst the middle of a theatrical work, the actors on stage will stop the play and ask the audience for solutions for the situations. The audience will voice their opinion toward a solution. This approach bridges the gap and increases interaction between the actors and the audience. Further development from this concept were the forum theatre, where the audience not only voices their opinions, they are also encouraged to participate in the performance. The invisible play. Here, a previously prepared play is performed in the public without revealing that it is a play. The intention behind it being mostly to provoke debate on certain social issues. Here, the role of the actor is transformed into a facilitator to help a message reach out to the people by coming in direct contact with the audience. Thus, the illusionary reality is broken and the actor takes on the role of a performer directly acknowledging the presence of the audience, not merely as spectators, rather as spect-actors. Meisner's technique. Sanford Meisner, an American actor and acting teacher, developed an approach to acting instruction that is now known as the Meisner technique. While Meisner was exposed to method acting at the group theatre, his approach differed markedly in that he, like Konstantin Stanislavski, completely abandoned the use of affective memory, a distinct characteristic of method acting. Meisner maintained an emphasis on the reality of doing, which was the foundation of his approach. The goal of the Meisner technique has often been described as getting actors to live truthfully under imaginary circumstances. The technique emphasizes that in order to carry out an action truthfully on stage, it is necessary to let emotion and subtext build based on the truth of the action and on the other characters around them, rather than simply playing the action or playing the emotion. One of the best known exercises of the Meisner technique is called the repetition exercise, where one person spontaneously makes a comment based on his or her partner, and the comment is repeated back and forth between the two actors in the same manner until it changes on its own. The object is always to react truthfully, allowing the repetition to change naturally rather than by manipulation. Let us now discuss about the acting theory propounded by Natyashastra. Natya, the art of histrionics, has been a part of Indian culture for thousands of years, and in its analysis and concepts, one can find a clear reflection of typical Indian psychology. Abhinay is an inseparable component of Natya, the ancient Indian system of dramaturgy. The principles of Natya have been laid down by Bharata in his exhaustive treatise on the subject known as Natyashastra, which is almost 2000 years old. Bharata's Natya is a composite performing art form of theatre which combines not only the arts of dance, drama and music, but also literature, painting and sculpture. Classical dance styles like Kathakali and Bharatanatyam, as well as theatre forms like Kudiyattam, Yakshagana, still follow Bharata's technique and his concept of Abhinay. Abhi is the prefix meaning towards, and Ni or Naya is the root meaning to carry. So, Abhinaya means to carry towards, that is, to carry the spectator towards the meaning. Thus, Abhinaya can be called a vehicle of Natya through which the spectator experiences the particular emotions of the dramatic character, that is to lead him towards Rasananda, the ultimate bliss, which is the aim of Natya. Bharata has defined 4 major types of Abhinay, namely Angik Abhinay, Vachik Abhinay, Aharya Abhinay and Satvik Abhinay. Angik Abhinay means to convey the meaning through body movements. This involves natural as well as symbolic gestures, postures and movements of the major and minor parts of the body, including the mukharag, which are expressions conveyed through the subtle movements of facial muscles. Bharata's description of the usages of body limbs for conveying various meanings is a detailed scientific study of human behavior. Vachik Abhinay is the expression through speech. Apart from Natya as a literary piece, this includes the actor's skill at delivering the dialogues. Whereas the aspect of Aharya involves Rangabhusha, the makeup and costumes, ornaments, etc. of the patra, the dancer actor as well as the Nepatya, the stage props and decor. Bharata has prescribed specific colors, hairstyles as well as costumes for particular characters. Satvik Abhinay is mentioned as the 4th kind of Abhinay. It is regarded as the expression of Sattvikas, that is, the peculiar emotional states producing the particular physical reactions like Romancha, Ashru, Sweda, Vaivarnya, etc. Mani Madhav Chakyar is considered as the all-time great master of Rasa Abhinay. He was exceptionally well in the field of Satvik Abhinay. He is considered as one of the most wonderful theatre actors of the last century. the Natyashastra advocates the rasa theory. Rasas are considered to be the basis of all Natya. Here, the main aim for the actor is to make the audience experience the rasa and in turn to generate a bhav as an emotional response through the abhinay. Acting in the contemporary times is certainly eclectic and is marked by the emergence of postmodern interdisciplinary intercultural approach with instances of environment or even site-specific projects. I hope you found this lecture informative. In our next lecture, we shall discuss about the basic method of preparation, an actor's tools and analyzing the character. Till then, take care. Goodbye.